is just difficult for the royal family.
Do you think it is damaging to the royals here, though?
Look, it highlights the fact that they're unable to do these things right now.
I mean, what Diana did was damaging.
But all of
let's be honest, what she did distracted all the attention away from Charles and the others here. I mean...
Stop it.
But then her work on landmines, for example, the Halo Trust is one of the charities that their Archwell is supporting.
It was great, but you can't
say that that's wrong to be doing.
No, I'm not saying it's wrong. And the Invictus Games are a remarkably good thing, right? I've got lots of servicemen in my family, right? It's a great thing.
I think I have a headache.
No one disputes that. And from a pure optics point of view, this was a very successful trip, right? That's the problem. Is if we're now going to have a rival royal family stealing attention, oxygen, media coverage and so on.
But wait for it.
Away from the royals here at a perilous time for the royal family, I don't like it.
But all the polling says that those members, Kate, William, the King, are still far, far more popular.
They are, but if this...
Stop it.
It'd be interesting to take some polling from places like Africa after tours like this about what they think, given the problems the royals have had on their tours of the Caribbean.
We've done so much navel gazing in this country.
So that was a f***ing lie.
You're right, our king represents way more than just Little Britain. But we keep on saying, oh, he's copying or it's just like Diana. I was speaking to the most extraordinary woman today, Helen Lewis. Her son, Aaron Lewis, dies in Afghanistan. She helped set up the Aaron Lewis Foundation, all the kind of work that overlaps with Harry. She consistently was just chatting away. She had no idea I have an interest in royalty. We were talking about something separate. And she actually said at these commemorative events, you tend to go around on a bit of a circuit. And, my grandson's called Harrison. And
what? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And we often see Prince Harry, and he's, ever since he was young, working alongside Prince Philip, he's had the most extraordinary ability to reach children. He then tapped up my grandson and, made sure he knew
What does that have
Archie,
to do with the debate?
Because the point is Harry has a gift. And it might make us all feel uncomfortable, but it was there before he left the royal family. We often talked about it, Harry's charisma. You can't implant it in someone, you can't force it on someone.
But that's
he has it, and what upsets you is you're seeing it used in a way that you feel undermines the royal family.
Once again,
wait for it.
You weirdly, I think deliberately misconstrue what upsets me.
No.
It's got nothing to do with him being charismatic around children, right?
It does, because actually that's part of the brand and it's very powerful.
My anger towards the pair of them for the last few years has all been because of the damage they're doing the royal family and the monarchy.
But that was obvious that was going to happen, so why didn't the royal family try and work towards a half-in, half-out?
But Piers, when you talk about the damage they have done to the royal family, let me play devil's advocate. And
wait for it.
If you're right that they have damaged the royal family, hasn't Sarah just explained to us that actually that isn't the case, and that they're riding high in the polls, and that
they're not. Who are you talking about?
King Charles.
Oh, the other.
Stop it.
Yes, the other royals. And so any damage that they're said to have caused, actually, it hasn't impacted.
Let me respond.
It hasn't impacted in the way
there
that
are other
you
polls
think it has.
about the actual...
And so there is no rivalry
Fine.
here.
Let me respond. You're missing the point. Support for the monarchy is falling.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
so actually, look at those polls.
That's a different
Sarah's
topic,
talking about individual popularity of members of the royal family.
And that's what I'm talking
But if you
about.
look at overall support for the royals, particularly amongst young people, it is falling.
And
Gentlemen, we got him.
It's a generational issue.
Exactly. And is that Harry and Meghan's fault?
I think a lot of it,
I mean, that is...
A lot of it,
It's also partly the
I believe
fault
a lot
of
of it
people
is.
like you.
The point is...
It's also partly the fault of people like you, because you drive this great divide between the generations, between the two camps.
It's not me trashing his family.
No, but you are very vocal on the right and centre media.
I didn't call the royal family a bunch of callous racists.
The issue that you
with
have
no
raised
evidence.
is about the trouble that the
did.
royal family have with coming to terms with the part they played in colonialism.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Harry and Meghan are a tiny part of that, and to suggest that
not,
somehow...
Paula, that is so disingenuous.
To suggest that somehow Harry and Meghan have swayed...
What
are you talking about, man?
...bride in royal history going to a country like Nigeria is not somehow going to be damaging, given how estranged she is from the family.
They were invited there from September.
They should have said no.
Why?
Because they shouldn't be doing what they're doing.
Because
these rival tours.
You.
No, they shouldn't be doing it.
And it would suit who?
I thought they.
No.
Sorry, I thought they fled.
Are doing a marvellous
I thought they didn't want to do a life of royal duty.
Nice.
What I don't
That's not what they
understand
said.
is, Piers, what
That's
are
not
they?
what they
What are they
said.
allowed to do? You don't want
Turned
them.
out they do if they're making money.
I didn't
What do you
understand
want?
They're making
that that's
money.
what they
if
said.
it promotes their brand and they make money, we're in. Oh yeah.
It-
What are
It's
they
a
allowed to do,
charitable-
Piers? You
it's
don't
a
want them making
charitable
jam. You
visit.
don't want them going on tours. You don't want them trashing their family. What do you want them to do?
Actually, they
What
can
do you want
make
them to do?
jam. They can do podcasts. They can do TV. They can do speeches. They can do it all, just not as members of the royal family. No longer Duke
What
and
about
Duchess of
supporting
Sussex.
their
Stop it.
charities?
So you want them to get
Sorry.
rid of their
About
titles.
supporting their charities. They were there
How
to
can you
support.
trash an institution
they were
but
there
keep
to
the titles
support
and make money off
Invictus
them?
charity. That's
How
why
can
they
you
were
keep-
there.
how
They
can
were
you keep the
invited
titles
there-
and make money
they were
from an
invited
institution
there
that you say you hate?
in September.
Are you serious?
So long before anybody knew about the sad
think
news in
Piers has
terms
a-
of the
I
King's
think
bring
there's a
in,
level of hypocrisy here that Piers picks up and upsets him, and there is validity to that. There is a level of hypocrisy.
course.
It
Come on now, dog.
is a little bit uncomfortable, but you could
We
say
don't
they
want to be
earned it.
constrained by royal life, but
Harry-
here's our royal life.
Harry did his time in the institution. He's walked free and he's kept his title. Once a prince, always a prince, Piers. It's a shame you weren't born.
I couldn't. Literally, I come from Sussex. I spent more time there at the weekend than he and his wife have spent,
Yes.
I think, in their lives.
But you're a pleb and he's a prince.
I'm not
Tough luck,
pleb.
mate.
I'm actually a Piers of the realm. Let me bring back Kinsey. Kinsey, what is the American view of these two?
Wait for it. Here it comes.
When I was there, all they wanted to talk about was how is King Charles and how is Kate. But what is the American view, do you think, just generally, of Meghan and Harry?
Here it comes.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you that the American view is that you are a prince, Piers. You're
Thank you.
America's
Thank
prince.
you, Kinsey.
Yes.
Oh my God!
You know, I think that they're having a really hard time here in the States, specifically in Hollywood, because they have been turned into a punchline. They have been turned into a joke. You know, Saturday Night Live is a very liberal institution.
Wait for it.
And even, you know, Harry and Meghan aren't safe from Weekend Update regularly. They're taking shots at them on a regular basis on Saturday Night Live. I know you've seen South Park and some of these other shows. And
Stop it.
I think that they really they loathe the fact that they have become a joke in the States and in Hollywood because they want to be taken seriously. That's why this tour was so important to him, or to both of them. I think
Are you serious?
that they want to be considered serious individuals.
Yeah, well, actually, what they want to do is re-cement their royal credentials because that's where the money is. If they don't have them and they can't do what they just did in Nigeria,
Please, no! No! No!
then there's no point to them. They've done the trashing. People are bored with that. There's nothing left to trash. So they've trashed both their families. They're estranged from both sets of families on both sides. Pretty much the only family member they talk to seems to be her mother. That's it. On either side, it's quite extraordinary. And yet they are out there preaching about compassion and family and all these things. I'm not laughing. It's like, this is a joke.
And gentlemen, we got him.
Literally can't think of two less compassionate people on God's earth. Anyway, let's turn to something probably less contentious, or maybe not, which is the new portrait of King Charles by an old friend of mine, actually, Jonathan Yeo. Great guy, son of a former Tory MP. And this was the unveiling where Charles got to see this very vivid, kind of blood red image. I thought Charles's head was fantastic in terms of the detail, and little details like a little butterfly on the shoulder, what that meant. Now it sparks a lot of memes. Let's have a bit of a laugh first. These are
That doesn't make sense.
the comedic memes that have been born out of this portrait. King Charles painting reminds me of the Ghostbusters Vigo villain, said Mark Harris. Trevor Sumner, King Charles painting reminds me of, well, Dracula, the poster from the movie. Slain by Elf said, did somebody say that painting looks like Charles emerging from the flames of hell? I don't think they did, no, Slain by Elf, you did.
Stop it.
And Narinda Kaur said, I love this portrait. It's magnificent. Will King Charles be the one to emerge from the bloody past of the monarchy and be the first monarch to apologise?
How? Hold on, bro.
Okay, so Look, there's been some fun reaction, there's been some serious reaction, and some, as you'd expect from social media, some appallingly distasteful and inappropriate reaction.
What do you mean by that?
Which we'll skirt over. But first of all, what do we think of the picture, Sarah?
My first reaction was, whoa, gosh, it's huge and it's red.
Yeah.
The more I look at it, the more I love this portrait.
Why?
Oh my God!
Because the face stands out. Everything else fades into the background. Jonathan Yeo has combined the traditional portrait, there he is in the uniform of the Welsh Guards, leaning on a sword, but made it contemporary. And all of that regalia actually fades into the background. And you just look at the man and that face and the detail of the monarch butterfly just touching on his shoulder, apparently proposed by the king himself during one of the
significance of the butterfly is what?
Well, he wanted to talk about metamorphosis.
Stop it.
This is a project that's been going on for 4 years. It was commissioned in 2020.
4 different sittings, apparently.
4 different sittings between June 2021, November 2023, from the Prince of Wales to becoming the king. And so,
Are you serious?
So this shows that process of transition he's been through. It's also an endangered species. It's a nod to the king's love of the environment as
is it
well.
a nod to his own range, you think? Because it is a monarch butterfly.
It's a monarch butterfly.
Species. I mean, it's all a bit uncomfortable.
Is it uncomfortable?
Well, I find that a little bit uncomfortable.
What do you think of the picture?
Well, as a woman of a certain age, I've got to say that it screamed to me of red mist.
Nice.
Rage, the way I feel when I sit in front of you, and even a bit of menstrual tension going on there. But I'm just just a bit red. It was just a bit scarlet. That's all. It was just a little bit scarlet. But actually,
You know why it's red, do you?
Damn! No, because of the Welsh Guards.
Yes.
And he used the costume, and then he
It's nothing to do with your menstrual cycle.
But we all have our own personal response to art, and that was mine. If you're going to be, I was coming off an aeroplane, and
you literally looked at that painting and thought of your menstrual cycle.
I forgot my suitcase. I was so struck by it, actually, as I touched down in Gatwick yesterday. I was so blinded by this, red spot. Anyway, I then tried to think more academically or historically, and apparently it's all about the Red Prince, painted partly when he was a prince.
Are you serious?
Which also is a bit worrying, because it was when John of Gaunt was on his deathbed, ruining the idea of the next king, Richard III, and going, oh goodness, this sceptred isle, this, what is it? I think I wrote bits of it down. This other Eden, demi-paradise.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
I.e. the imperiled Britain. So is Charles overseeing an imperiled Britain?
Well, Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, are not working royals. They've made that repeatedly and screamingly clear to anyone who wants to hear it.
Wait for it.
Podcasters, authors, influencers, jam sellers, sure. But they left us in no doubt when they left Britain and the royal family that their royal duties were done. No more flower shows on a wet Wednesday in Stoke. So
that doesn't make sense.
It came as something of a surprise to many of us this week when the formerly royal couple landed in Nigeria in Africa to embark on what looked, sounded and felt very much like a normal official royal tour. In fact, it ticked every single box on the royal tour clipboard. There was a lavish welcome ceremony, festooned in traditional decorations and attended by glad-handing local dignitaries.
What do you mean by that?
Photo opportunities at local schools and warm handshakes with beaming children. There was a visit to the state governor house with speeches and tributes from officials. This was certainly no holiday, nor was it a private visit. It was a renegade royal operation in full swing and a booming look at what you could have won message to their ailing family in Windsor.
Look at this.
Meghan even revealed that she is Nigerian after taking a DNA test. But as she explained to audiences in her typically humble and self-effacing style, the clues were there all along.
Are you serious?
And what has been echoed so much, really, in the past day by men and women alike is, oh, we weren't surprised when we found out that you were Nigerian. Oh, no. And,
stop it.
And I say that mostly as a compliment to all of you, because what they define as a Nigerian woman is brave, resilient, courageous, proud.
Humbling. That is the word you'd associate with her, isn't it? Well, Harry and Meghan knew exactly what they were doing, of course, and I'm sorry, I'm very cynical about it. In the build-up to their wedding, commentators heralded the boundary-breaking power of The newly biracial monarchy. That fact has been lost in the onslaught of race baiting the couple have unleashed ever since. But I know it's true because I wrote that myself on the day of the wedding. The actual royal family, meanwhile, has an increasingly fraught relationship with the former colonial nations, not helped by the brazen and discredited accusations of racism flowing from the Sussexes themselves. Prince William and Princess Catherine were pilloried for perceived missteps on a tour of Jamaica, where they shook hands with locals through a chain-link fence. The royals are met with ill-conceived demands for reparations and apologies for ancestral sins on every royal tour these days, culminating in King Charles saying this in a speech in Rwanda.
Wait for it.
It seems to me that there are lessons in this for our Commonwealth family. For while we strive together for peace, prosperity and democracy, I want to acknowledge that the roots of our contemporary association run deep into the most painful period of our history. I cannot describe the depths of my personal sorrow at the suffering of so many, as I continue to deepen my own understanding of slavery's enduring impact.
How? Hold on, bro.
Important to remember that it was Britain, of course, who began the end of slavery. Never gets mentioned in any of these debates. But they knew the context of Sussexes. If one thing we learned about Harry and Meghan's family trashing, money-grabbing strategies since they quit the UK and the royal duty, is that they don't do anything by accident. Every frame of this trip was storyboarded for maximum impact. Clearly the lucrative deals that fund their lavish Californian lifestyle.